I'm working on the last rib, the outboard wingtip rib, doing the rib lacing on it. We've got all the rest of them done. My wife helped me with most of them. I did a little bit of it myself while she was baking bread and doing a few other things, but mostly she helped. And even though I can do it by myself, it was easier with her helping. Like this outboard wingtip rib's not too bad because I can sit here, feed the needle through, and kind of look around the other side and see where it's coming through. Well, the ones in the middle here, you can't really do that with. You got to walk all the way around and look and then figure out where the thing is. And anyway, try to feed it through there. Well, I figured out a way to do that blind. And the rib has a cap strip on it that sticks out from the rib a little bit. And there's other things in here besides that kind of get in the way of that. But mainly, you're looking at the cap strip that like a T, like a flat top on it, on both the rib that we're going in through. This happens to be the bottom of the rib. And then the top of the rib is on the other side. Of course, we've gone through here before we ever did anything, and we pre-punched the holes before we ever put the reinforcing tape on here or anything like that. Well, one of the things we've done after we did all that is I've gone through all of these holes and went ahead and stuck the eye of the needle into them to open them up a little bit more. Then, if I take this needle and run it in here with the curved tip down, canted just a little bit in towards the rib, and I can stick it in at an angle pointing away from the rib and then slide it in till it touches the rib, and then just slide it up and down. You want to slide it with the curve here. If you slide it down, then this tip of the needle bites in, but since this tip of this needle is kind of dull, it's not too bad. You're using a sharp needle, it would just dig in and you'd never know where the hole was. But by sticking this in there, sliding it over against the rib, and then just walking it up and down the rib, then you can see where the hole is, feel where the hole is when the needle hits it, and just push it right through. The wing is rocking back and forth, so it's going in and out of focus. So I'll try doing this a few times to make sure that you can see that. If you're on this side, on the side away from where the needle is being fed into, or the side that the needle is being fed to, then you can see the tip of the needle as it moves around, and then you can kind of direct whoever's on the other side into which direction to go with it. There's the hole. That should be the hole. Let me go on. Yep, it fed right through there. When you get the hole, you know it. You don't have to push real hard. If you hit a spot where you're not in the hole, then the needle sometimes will poke a hole in it and you'll think that's it, especially after you start going back and forth through to do it again a couple of times. But we got it through there. I'll come over on this side and check. And sure enough, I got the needle through there. Now I got to find my standing. There's my standing thread cord. That's the one that goes down here to the bottom. That goes over the top. Pull the needle through. Start pulling my cord through there till I have just a little loop there. An eye, a pond, whatever the heck you want to call it. Then I'll take my working portion, hold it up, the palm tree, the piling, the post, whatever, go underneath. This is the working part, the loose part, go underneath it, over the standing part, down, pull it down, half twist, back underneath the standing part, the hard part, and pull. I've got my figure 8 there. So now I use the needle in there to hold that out a little bit so it pulls nice and even, and work that in there, because you're not only pulling the loop, the loose portion of the cord through there to tighten it up, you're also pulling the standing portion, the hard portion that comes up and down here, you're pulling it up too to tighten it up. And then walk that over, pull that back and forth across there to make sure and get that cord tight, and then pull that eye out of it. And then this part is fairly easy. I tip the needle back up this way, run it through that hole, poke it up. I can just see the needle poking into the skin there, and run that right up along that rib, and then it pokes itself right out the next hole up. Pull up on it so we don't unzipper it, and then when you get it up, pull a little bit, and that pulls that knot in. And then to help with the knot, I'll pull on that a little bit, use the eye of my needle to help push that knot in there, and then just stick the needle in under that to flatten everything out and straighten the cord out. And we'll do it all over again. Curve of the needle down slightly towards the rib, poke it in there till you hit the fabric, slide it over till you hit the rib. Yeah, I heard a little pop there, and goes right through. That's perfect. That's the hole that goes right through. Okay, just keep doing it. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more holes to go, and we'll be done with the rib lacing. Before I tighten that up, make sure that, yep, that's good and flat on that side. That's one of the things that helps to have somebody helping you with, because they can tell you whether it's flat or not on that side. Otherwise, when I was doing it down here in the middle of the wing, I'd have to get up and walk around it 2 or 3 times to make sure. This cord is waxed, so as it goes through these holes and stuff, as we run it through there, some of the wax comes off. But this loop, as it comes around here, this is the part that comes through the wing here, and as it goes through this knot, and as it goes through there, if that knot, it'll slide, but it scrapes the wax off of there and makes a big buildup. So the larger this loop is, when you get done pulling this knot tight, the bigger the pile of wax is that you've got to clean up. Now you can, I don't know, the dark right there is the wax buildup, and if it's goes through there a long ways, sometimes you'll just have a big booger of wax right there. All right, that wing is all laced up. I wished I could say that was the hardest part of the job, but now we got to do all the taping and everything, and that's pretty intense doing that too. So, but anyway, we got all the rib lacing done. That took 3 days to do that. I spent 1 day doing the fuel tank bay, And then my wife and I did 5 ribs yesterday in the afternoon, and then we did 5 more today. I did the wingtip rib by myself and part of a couple others by myself, but mostly I had help, and that was good. So anyway, those are done. I'm happy. Now what I'll do is I'll get some help tomorrow, pick this end of the wing up and roll it back over flat, and I'm going to set it bottom side down to start with and work on the top. There's not much to do on the top. I've got one gusset or whatever you want to call it that goes on the top. There's opening for the aileron control cable that comes out the top, and that's the only thing on the top that needs any attention there, other than just finishing tapes going over everything. And then the bottom here, well, the bottom is going to require a lot of work. The bottom gets, of course, reinforcing tapes, finishing tape that goes over the spars, and of course each one of these ribs, any place there's a hard edge, any place there's a place where metal meets fabric. So on the false spars here, there's a hard edge there. That'll get finishing tape on it. The same on the leading edge. Of course, part of that's covered up with the spar. Around the landing light, of course, I've got this new tie down here. That one's going to get some kind of a gusset around it. And then there's special ones that go around the wing spar attach fittings. Oh, and then the pitot tube here and the jury strut attach fittings here. And then there are inspection covers that go every so often here. There'll be an inspection cover here to get access into the pitot tube. And then there's inspection covers that go front and back where the drag anti-drag struts attach. Anyway, there's a lot of work to be done on the bottom here. So I'll do the top first and get the tapes and stuff finished on it first, and then we'll turn it over and do the bottom. And of course, then there's the tapes that go over the leading edge and trailing edge, and gussets that go over each one of these hinges. So anyway, there's still a lot of work to do there before we're ready to start finish painting. Once all that stuff goes on, we can put 2 coats of poly brush on there, sprayed on, and then 3 cross coats of poly spray. And then once that is set up, then I think that's got to set up for 3 days or something like that before we can put the finish coat on it. But then we can put the finish coat on it. So still a lot of work to do, but it's coming. That was a tedious part right there, doing all of those stitches.